So now moving on to Gina Rodriguez. Oh my god, she has been the topic of discussion. Shit. Gina Rodriguez. Now, I really didn't know Gina Rodriguez's past like that. I just knew her in some movies, you know, here and there. I saw her in some Netflix shit. Cool. But I didn't know anything about her past and the things that she said outside of this situation, you know? So, I'm gonna play you guys a clip that went crazy. And then I'm going to play you guys the apology video, alright? So, here it goes.
I could do what you do, believe me. Niggas give me heebie-jeebies. Niggas give me heebie-jeebies.
Niggas give me heebie-jeebies.
Okay, so that's what she said, right? You guys heard that? She used the N-word. She was rapping the song and all that, and this is what her apology video is.
I just wanted to reach out and apologize. I am sorry. I am sorry if I offended anyone by singing along to the Fugees, to a song I love, that I grew up on. I love Lauryn Hill, and I really am sorry if I offended you.
So there you go. So she said the N-word, then she made an apology video, and people are still mad. Now, this is my thoughts on it. One, let's just focus on the apology video on itself, right? Let's focus on the apology video on itself. Not once did she say, I'm sorry for using the N-word. Not once did she say, I'm sorry for what I did. She just said, I'm sorry if I offended you. It didn't sound authentic. It didn't sound like something that she really meant. So that's why I'm flaming her for that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm flaming her for that. And I'm not the only one that thinks that. You know, a couple of white folks think the same thing too.
This idea that you know people are singing along to this stuff and you're putting that word in there. Like I remember Kendrick Lamar brought up, I believe it was a white person up on stage, a white girl, and I don't remember what song it was, but she sang the lyrics back to him and included the N-word, and he got really mad when she said the N-word and booted her off stage.
Right.
So it's just the idea of, yeah, so you want people to skip, which is fine, you want people to skip over that word, which is absolutely appropriate, but at what point maybe you should be taking the N-word out of your lyrics, especially all the kids now that don't know all the historical context of that word.
No.
So, I mean, you're still exposing this word to kids that are, 10 years old, and they don't know the historical significance of it.
Sure.
So maybe at a certain point, do you have to rethink, should we even be including this word? Because it is going to happen that people are going to sing along.
I will never restrict language. I never will. I am not a proponent of forcing people to say certain words and forcing people to not say certain words, but certain words come with certain consequences. And to even make the argument as somebody who's not black that, I'm not saying the N-word, I'm just singing along to a song that I love, to even want to make that argument is weird.
Yeah.
You could say all the words. There's millions of words, right? You can say them all in all the languages, everything else. If there's only one that you can't, then I don't see why you should have a massive problem with that, let alone go to the wall to try and defend I'm just singing lyrics.
Right.
Like, to me, none of that makes sense. But if...
So, there you go. Even white folks are coming in saying that, yo, you shouldn't be saying that. You're not even black. You know what I'm saying? And I want to get into that, and I want to tackle everything. So, a couple of things I was hearing from other people, a couple of things that I was hearing from the other side, and I want to tackle all of them down the list. Now, they said, well, if it's in rap music, you can skip the word, or you don't even, why is it even in rap music? Rap is art, right? Rap music is art. You can say whatever the fuck you want in it, okay? White people do not have the right to ever say that word. If that word's in it, fuck it. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? Who cares? White people should not have a right whatsoever to ever say it. Now, the point goes is the point goes in, should Latin people say it? I made a episode a while back called "Should Latin People Say the N-Word?" And in that episode, I went down and said the reason why I use it, which I am still trying to not use it whatsoever, which I've been very good at right now. To this day, I've been very good at editing and censoring myself when I talk, because I came from the environment, and I still come from the environment of where that word was used literally left and right. I come from the environment where I grew up using that word, and that word being used on me. Never for malicious intent, never as a derogatory word. It was a word used for an endearment. I was never checked for using that word. I was never told not to use that word. I was never reprimanded not to use that word. I went all over New York City, Brooklyn, Queens, Uptown, downtown Manhattan, using that word, and nobody ever told me anything. The only people that would tell me and my friends something about that word was older black folks. Respect that. I'm not gonna use that around you. I'm sorry. But that was a vocabulary that I was using left and right, and nobody gave a fuck about it. Until later on, I started growing up and started getting more mature. I was like, wait a minute, it's kind of a fucked up term. You feel what I'm saying? It's kind of a fucked up term. Though now, you know, when I did that episode and I brought some black folks into it, they called in and they said you shouldn't use it at all. And shout out to them. You know, go to their Twitter and subscribe. Go to that episode and find their, you know, their Twitter and subscribe. But you shouldn't use it at all whatsoever. At all. And I totally agree. That should be a word that should be eliminated, you know. Obviously there's not a big force out here advocating for that, but you know, alright, it shouldn't even be used at all. Does it slip out sometimes? Yeah, it does slip out sometimes when I just talk regular, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I try to censor myself as much as possible, because I want to eliminate that word from my vocabulary, you know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, now, this other part where people are saying, well, how come Fat Joe gets a pass? Fat Joe claims he's black. He's a Afro-Latino. Regardless of how light he is, white people see him as another person, as black. Believe it or not. If you don't agree with me, then you're not around a lot of white folks. You're not around their inner circles. You don't have honest white people around you to tell you exactly what they really feel. If you don't believe that. I heard this other argument. How come Tekashi 6ix9ine can say it? There was a lot of people that didn't like Tekashi 6ix9ine saying it. There was a lot of people out here not liking what he was saying. When he was getting beat up, he wasn't in LA. He wasn't getting beat up because he was using that word. He was getting beat up for other bullshit, not for that word. But now you go into court documents, you find out that he didn't start using the N-word until he actually got into the 9 Trey Bloods. So that example is mute. That example goes out the window. You can't even use that example. I hear this other one. How come Cardi B can say it? Regardless if Cardi B claims that she's black or white or whatever the case is. I heard her many times say that she is an Afro-Latina. Sometimes she just emphasizes with Latina. That clip that she's saying, I'm not black, and you don't hear the whole clip. I heard the whole clip, and she's basically is saying, I'm not black, I'm Afro-Latina. You know what I'm saying? We got to really look at the whole context, not just take it as face value. You know what I'm saying? So, it's because she's claiming black. Now, Gina Rodriguez has never, to my knowledge, claimed black or anything like that. Can she do so? Yeah, because she's not fully white. Yeah, she got lighter skin and all that, but she's not fully white. She's not 100% white. There's still a little bit of, you know, some color in there. You feel what I'm saying? So, can she say it? Now, let's look at her track record. Something that I wasn't even aware about. You know what I'm saying? Something I wasn't even aware about. Now, what does her track record consist of? Well, I'm glad you guys asked. DJ Vlad had an interview with Godfrey, and basically he runs down the list of what Gina said, and take a listen.
Gina Rodriguez is a Latina actress.
Right.
Who has gone out of her way to what some people consider slandering black women.
What did she say?
Basically, she said, well, it was like a series of things. At one point, she said, you know, right when Black Panther first came out, and she was like, oh, you know, this is great. You know, what about a Latino superhero asking for a friend? You know, right when Black Panther, came out. You know, and then she said, you know, Latinos are the least paid group in Hollywood. Not true. Not true at all. Not true. In fact, the highest paid female in Hollywood is the girl from Modern Family.
Oh, right. She's from Colombia. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was in Soul Playing with me. Yeah, I know her.
Vergara. Sophia Vergara.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You know, and then during this whole, there was a press junket with my man Zilla from Littlefoot, and she was doing this interview with a black, her co-star, a black female co-star, and he asked her, you know, the interviewer said, you know, what's it like for a black woman in Hollywood, you know, to get a role like this? She goes, well, as a black woman, and then Gina, you know, interrupted, as a woman.
Okay, so Gina has a shady past. You know what I'm saying? She has a questionable past. So she goes and says, let me just run down the list. Well, Black Panther is out. How come there's no Latin superheroes? That right there is trying to all lives matter the situation. Black Panther, right there she's wrong. Right there she's wrong. It's like white people saying, Black Panther? How come there's no white superheroes? You know, there's damn near every other white superhero out here. You know what I'm saying? It's like Asian people saying the same thing. You know what I mean? Let black folks have their thing. Chill out. But there are tons of, you know, Latin superheroes. You know, I'm not much of a comic geek, but I know Miles Morales, the Black Spider-Man, he's Dominican and black or something like that. He's a Latin superhero. The Blue Beetle in DC, a Latin superhero. You know what I'm saying? So there is some Latin superheroes out here. You know what I mean? We all ain't gonna get, you know, a seat at the table. Just chill. Let black people have their thing. That's a way of her bogarting her bullshit in. So that's why, you know, some people have been like, yo, Gina, chill out. You're doing too much, ma. Chill out. You know what I'm saying? So now so that right there, she's fucked up at that point. You know what I'm saying? Then she goes out and says, well, Latinas are the lowest paid. Now that I have to agree with, just because one person who is from Modern Family Sofia Vergara or something is the highest paid Latina out here. There's only one person. It's like me pointing at Oprah. Well, when black people were talking about Oscar's so white, well, you got Oprah. She's the richest person out here. That wouldn't be fair whatsoever. So pointing one Latin person out here, saying that she's the most paid person out here is not really making a point whatsoever. She does have a point on that. You know what I'm saying? She really does have a point on that, because outside of Sofia Vergara, point at another well-off, rich Latin person who's getting paid well. Exactly. Besides J-Lo. But I don't know if J-Lo and Sophia's thing is really that, you know, it really matches up. You know what I'm saying? Those are the only two, and that's in one hand. You know what I'm saying? So she does have a point on that. I give her that one. I'll give her that one. But then she goes out and says that other, you know, all lives matter bullshit. You know, talking about, oh, as a black woman. Oh, wait, hold on. As a woman. Shut the fuck up. Let black folks have their turn. Chill. Yeah, as a black woman, yes. Chill out. Chill out with that. So now I see where she shouldn't have even said anything. Where she shouldn't have said anything at all. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that she said the N-word is extremely problematic. I'm not writing for this whatsoever, but other folks are giving her a pass, like Almara La Negra. She's giving her a pass. Check this out.
I think it's all about the way that you use the words and why you use them. If you're singing a song that your favorite artist sings and it just so happens to be that they say it, what can you expect? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't want to hear it, don't have your favorite artist sing it. But they continue to do it. I personally didn't see it the way that many have seen it. I understand as an Afro-Latina, I guess I can't say it because my skin is darker. So I guess it's not a problem if I say it. But for the most part, I would say that if people are sensitive about the word, then it shouldn't be put in so many songs. You know, she was reciting a song. It wasn't like she was talking to someone. She was being confrontational. I don't think she meant it in a harmful way. It's about the way that you use it. Like I said, there's a lot of Latinos that are raised in the same community as African Americans. They're used to hearing it and they feel as if they're part of that community. It's a very thin line, because I would lie if I say that I don't use it, that a lot of people use it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've never used it in a malicious way, but I've even been told that I can't say it because I'm Afro-Latina. You're not black. You know, you're Latin, so you're not allowed to say it either.
So that was Amara La Negra, you know, defending Gina Rodriguez. And she brought up a lot of interesting and good points. I have to agree with her. She brought a lot of interesting and good points. And the thing of the double standard where even black Latinos aren't allowed to say, that's a real thing. You know, they say, I hear a lot of black folks saying they can't say it. A lot of other black folks say they can never say it. Only black people say it. And when you press them, you tell them, okay, how come only black folks can say it? Because they were slaves. That's when you get into some muddy gray areas. You understand? Now, the person of the Fugees came out and actually said this. Check this out.
So what do you think what Gina did?
I mean, I don't really know Gina. I mean, I know who she is, but I don't know her history or background. But, I mean, you have in the past certain Latin people who have what I call honorary passes, like Fat Joe, Cardi B, J-Lo, you know. I don't know what her contribution been to the culture to be able to get a pass like that. But, you know, when we make music, it's for people to sing along. Now, some people can't say certain words. I'm not sure if she's the one. I'm just not hearing about this controversy in the last couple of days. I think it's more about how embedded are you in a culture and your contribution to the culture, right?
But that's a slippery slope, though, isn't it? That you got to judge.
This is what I mean. I mean, like, first, let's take Fat Joe, for example. Fat Joe been doing hip-hop. He came out before we came out. He from the Bronx. He grew up around black people, Jamaicans, Haitians, all of that. So he's part of the culture. Now, there's certain people, just because you're Latina doesn't mean you can say it. That's what I'm saying. I don't know Gina's contribution and what she's done in the past.
What about a white guy that's done a lot for the culture?
No white guys. You can't do that. No, we can't.
Even if they support the culture.
No, we can't do that. No. We're about 300 years away from that. Hey,
So there you go. You know what I'm saying? There you go. So the thing that I'm seeing, it basically goes as it basically goes as an opinion piece, because there's no really set rules for it, right? There's really no set rules for who can use the N-word and who can't use the N-word. Some people are saying, like you guys heard, oh, you get honorary passes, how you live, what you did for the culture. You also hear, well, you know, you gotta be enslaved or descendants of slaves. So I decided to take a very deep historical take on it. So if you actually look the word Nigger on Google, and you actually check it out on Wikipedia, you know what I'm saying? On Wikipedia, you actually will see, and it'll tell you, Nigger. In the English language, the word Nigger is an ethnic slur typically directed at black people. The word originated in the 18th century as an adoption of the Spanish negro, which in Spanish word is negro, a descendant of the Latin adjective niger, Niger, which means black. It was used derogatorily, and by the 20th century, particularly the United States, its usage by non-African Americans became unapologetically and racist and so on, all this other stuff. Typically, blah blah blah, it's popular culture, right? So you find out that, okay, it was a Spanish word that was adopted by the English, that they basically remixed it, right? Now you got a question. Why were the Spanish using that word? Why were the Spanish using that word? Because Latin people were enslaved. If you guys really want to go down into it, Spanish people were using that to their slaves. If you go to any Spanish-speaking country, guess what? The Spanish ruled there. The Spanish ruled there, okay? When they were in the Caribbean, they were calling all the people up in there niggers, or negro, or how you say it right now, negro. You know, the English just remixed it. When you go down to South America, the same thing. When you go down to Central America, the same thing. Mexico, the same thing. The Spanish started that. Latin people were the first one who were called Negroes. This is just me having a historical take, and these are just facts. Okay? These are just facts. So if we want to talk about who has the right to say it, I think Latin people should be having the right to say it. These are just historical facts. Going down now, that's one, right? The origin of the word, the N-word, that's one. Two, what have Latin people contributed to the culture? When he talks about the culture, he's talking about hip-hop. Well, the invention of hip-hop, Latin people had a huge contribution to that. It wasn't just black folks. Latin people were a part of that. Now, there's 5 essence in the house of hip-hop. There's 5. MCing, which is the master ceremony, DJing, right? Scratching the records, b-boying or breakdancing, graffitiing, you know, with the you know, with the graffiti or whatever the case is, and knowledge. You feel what I'm saying? And knowledge. Guess what? Latin people were in all 4 of these. There wasn't that many MCs. So if you're talking about contributing to the culture, Latin people contributed a lot to the culture. There was a lot of Latin people who actually put in sweat, blood, and tears into hip hop. So let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. So I'm already eliminating Boom Boom too, right? Off the bat. I'm already eliminating 2. Now, I heard this other argument. Well, yeah, Latin people are black. You're right. Latin people are black. They have black descent. Most of them even have black features with light skin, but you got light skin. You're not black. Now, if you guys really go down the genetic makeup of what black is, black does not mean melanin whatsoever. It was used as a way to identify and harm people based on melanin. But genetically, it does not mean melanin whatsoever, because you have light-skinned black people who are black but light-skinned. Rock Newman is a perfect example of this. Look, he white as shit, but he's black. That girl Donna from Black Ink, another perfect example of this. Light skin as shit, but she's black. Sean King, another example of this. Light as shit, he's black. So what makes these people black and Latin people not? But regardless of what Latin people think that they're black or not, I'm not here to talk about that bullshit. I just want to put in this perspective where we could talk about this. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Please let me know. But we're going down the line of everything, okay? Of everything that I've heard. Hip-hop, boom. I debunked that. The N-word started with us from the Spanish. Debunked that. Because Latin people were slaves, if you want to believe it or not. We were. And oh, because of skin tone. Okay, I debunked that. So, who should use the N-word? I'm not here trying to advocate for all Latin people to use the N-word. Please don't take this as such. I'm not. I prefer nobody use it. You know what I'm saying? But if I do have a preference, I prefer black and Latin people to use it. You know what I'm saying? But I just clearly don't prefer nobody to use it. But if I really do have a preference, you already know what it is. But nobody should be using it. Regardless if it's in a rap song or not, who gives a fuck? Regardless if we eliminate the N-word altogether, white supremacists are still going to call us that. Because the N-word's been around way longer before any rap record. You know what I'm saying? These people invented the word. You feel me? So, let's really take this argument and discussion and put it in some real context. Let's really put it under some real context. Because I don't want to hear the Latin bashing. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear from the Paris and Milans, from the Tariq Nasheeds, from the other people, from the Black. I don't want to hear from none of these people unless you really put it in some real context. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else has an agenda, and I'm not against that. But at least put in some real context. You feel what I'm saying? At least put it in some real context. Now,